This episode is brought to you by BetUS. Check them out in the link in the description below. Every sports bettor's favorite sports book. Once again, the link will be in the description. Place your bets, betus.com. Gus, welcome back to the pod.
Thank you for having me, man.
Okay, so this episode is for all NBA, right? I think this is a very appropriate time to finally discuss it. I want to do it this way. I want to ask you first if you have a criteria or if you just kind of say, these are the 15 best players and this is what I did. How did you go about it?
So in previous years, we know that, the NBA used to do, position-based awards. Now with the position list, with Team 1, I just picked the 5 best players in the NBA. And obviously, I look at, stats, but also team winning. So obviously, we're not going to have like a looter in the riot type of thing. But we're also going to be having, I'm going to reward winning.
Yeah. Why don't you give us your first 5?
I think first 5, we're not going to disagree much.
Okay.
And I think based on what I read online, it's pretty much consensus. So I got Jokic, Luka, Jason Tatum, SGA, and Giannis.
Okay. And you put Tatum on there. Is there anyone? Was that the slot that you were like, who can I?
Oh man, I had so much back and forth with this one because I was debating between him, Jalen Brunson.
Try to get closer if you can. Yeah.
I was debating between him, Jalen Brunson, and Kawhi Leonard.
Okay.
Because all 3 were having great seasons, but man, when you look at the way that Boston, I think they're 62, 63 wins.
Dude, they're at 63. Yeah.
So imagine that. You have to reward that.
Yeah. That's and then, so I'll counter something to you. Okay. We have to reward that, right? Best player, 62-plus win team. That's a big argument. We know that. If you're also a simple exercise you can do is, well, who would I rather have? Right now this season, would I rather have Edwards? Would I rather have Brunson? Or would I rather have Tatum? And I guess depending on who you ask, man, some people are really on the Edwards boat, for better or worse. I think he's still too young to be taken over Tatum right now. Obviously, if you're thinking like down the line, he's so young that you would probably take Anthony Edwards in that discussion. But yeah, like I knew we were going to have the same 4. And I went back and forth with the Tatum, Brunson, and Edwards. Like those are my 3 dudes. Like I wasn't going to put Kawhi because I feel like the Clippers are just right where they were.
4th place?
Right? Like it's in that, you know what I'm saying? Where were they last season? Weren't they like 5th? I feel like the Clippers are right where I thought they would be. Like, last season, 5th. Like they're just like, this is where they are, But and he's got a lot of help too.
To be fair, the Clippers were one of the top teams until like maybe recently. When the last month they kind of went on a slump.
Yeah. It goes back to what you're saying, though.
But then Russell Westbrook was injured. There's many reasons why that would happen.
Yeah.
Harden hasn't been able to make a bucket for like the longest. But the efficiency that Kawhi has had. But I don't have Kawhi on my first team.
Yeah.
But I think the argument for Jason Tatum, though, is, he's improved his playmaking.
Mm-hmm.
He's averaging essentially 27, 8, and 5.
Yeah.
On really good efficiency.
But has he improved his playmaking, or is he just surrounded by better help, which will improve your assist numbers because you're kicking it out to a KP. You're not kicking it out to a Rob Williams, right? Like you're kicking it out to there's a Drew Holiday who, your assists are going to go up.
But maybe that's the reason why his scoring is down, right?
For sure, that's why the scoring's down.
Yeah, so he has, more mouths to feed.
Yeah.
But, you still can't help but just say, he's the best player on the best team.
Okay. Yeah, I started with Edwards at 5.
I respect it.
Then I said, you know what? Because I respect the jump from last year, this was a play-in team. He's the head of the snake of that play-in team. He's the head of the snake this season, obviously. He's upped his game. His stats are up, decently across the board. His defense is up as well. So I really appreciated that from Edwards. And then I say, you know what? Night to night, he's got good games, bad games. Like he still has that kind of like inconsistent piece to his game, right? Like we know that, and his team is very good. So they do pick up the slack a little bit, right? Like his team's pretty deep. They're just like Rudy Gobert, Cat, Mike Conley. He's kind of in that situation with Tatum where he's maybe not surrounded by stars, but he is surrounded by good help, like really good help. This is a really good team. So I scratched Edwards. and then it was between Tatum and Brunson, right? And I might look foolish for scratching Tatum off because best player on the best team, like you said. And obviously, if you're asking me who I'd rather take this year, Tatum or Brunson, I would say Tatum. But then I ended up saying, fuck it. I'm going to scratch Tatum and I'm putting Brunson on there. And I have one thing that I do want to say why. Okay. On-off court numbers, right? It's a tricky stat because on-off court, I'm sorry, what did you want to say before? Yeah.
No, I was going to say that I totally understand because I have Brunson on my second team and I have him 3 in MVP.
Yeah, right.
So I think he's right up there.
Yeah. And the load that he has to carry is like no other now. So here's my on-off shit, right? Tatum on the court. The Celtics are a 121 offensive rating, right? Really good. They're 110 defense, so really good as well. Tatum off the court, they only drop by about 2 to 3 points offensive rating, and obviously the team is deep. It's stacked. Like, they just have so much help. And then let's go to Brunson's on-off court. It's ridiculous. Like, it's not even, you can't even debate this. Like, Brunson on the court, 121 offensive rating, so right with those Celtics, right, when he's on the court. And then off the court, it's 104. Like, it just drops like nearly 20 points. You know?
He is their offense.
It's crazy. And this is a guard, right? Undersized, some would say. And he's facing double teams. He's getting box and ones. Like, they're blitzing him in pick and rolls. And he's still efficient. He's still scoring. He's still winning games. And I feel like there's no better way to reward Brunson's season because he's not even in the MVP like ladder, which I think is crazy. Is he on the ladder?
I'm not sure, but to me, he should be at least 3.
And so I put him here in my first team just because I feel like I can't ignore just how much he has to do for a team that clearly doesn't have nearly the help any of the other 4 guys on the first team even has. You know, I feel like I reward him with that. I'm not going to knock people for putting Tatum over him, but yeah, that's just where I went with it.
I think the main difference why I didn't put Jalen first team is the defense.
Yeah. I'll let you go with the second team since I went on a big tangent with the Brunson thing. Go ahead and.
Yeah, sure. So Jalen Brunson, as you mentioned, is on my second team. I'm also going with Anthony Davis.
Okay.
Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant, and Kawhi Leonard. Tell me, is it the exact same?
It's the exact same second team. Obviously minus Tatum. Let me actually, I'm not even looking at my updated All-NBA list. I updated it just today. Like, I was looking at it yesterday. So let me see if I actually have the same team. No. I was looking at my wrong list. I just realized I made a swap like last second. So you had AD, Edwards, Brunson, Kawhi, KD.
Yep.
Right? So I actually took out AD from the second team, and I'll explain that later. But I have Edwards, right? My conversation when I put Edwards there was it's him and Steph. Like, I wasn't sure who I was going to reward because Steph, still excellent, you know, still the head of the snake of his team. Obviously, I would say I can't reward Steph with second team because of what we're talking about too. Just success, overall team success. Like, I have to give Edwards second team if, you know, for sure. Like, I can't let him slip to third just because he's been so good for this season also. I have Kawhi, I have KD, but I put LeBron instead of Anthony Davis.
Okay.
I put LeBron. Is LeBron still a top 10 player?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
I think so. I mean, if we look at his actual, like, he's still top 5 in assists.
Is the team not good because of LeBron?
I don't think so. I don't think you can equate it because you look at on-off numbers and they absolutely need LeBron. On off court, it's a massive drop off when they don't have LeBron. You know, that matters.
I remember hearing Paul Pierce talk about this. I know Paul Pierce is a generational LeBron hater.
Who's turned around? I think he's
changed. Okay.
I think he has a little bit, maybe.
The thing with LeBron is that he is the system when he has the ball. You know, he's gonna be
shout out Harden.
Yeah,
he's the system.
He's the system.
Yeah.
You know, he's gonna be having the high usage rate.
Okay.
And sometimes it doesn't let other guys go off. And LeBron hasn't been playing defense the last, I don't know, 5.
He's 39 years old. Jesus.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And that's the reason why. I mean, listen, for his standard, I think he's top 15, though. So it's not like, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Listen, and this year I was honestly thinking, is there any way that LeBron doesn't make All-NBA? Because, it's hard to reward a team that's not even that's in the play-in with 2 All-NBA players.
Even though LeBron's numbers are
Yeah, he's shooting a career high in 3-pointers.
Yeah.
Still an efficient 25, 7, and 8.
54
I get it.
from the field. Like,
I get it.
This dude is 50-40.
I get it. But,
8 assists, 7 rebounds. I mean, Jesus.
I
Not
get
top
it.
10? Me personally, I just think LeBron's still top 10. Like, I think he's like outside of like that 9. Like I have him there. I mean,
to me, he could be 11. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's probably 11.
I don't know. I feel like a guy that can play 1 through 4. He can be your point guard. He can be the best point guard on your team. He can be the best shooting guard on your team. Obviously, we're looking at the shooting splits. He can be your best small forward on your team. Like, he still leads his team in so many statistical categories. Like, I know Brunson does it. I don't know. If I have a playoff series, like, I want LeBron. LeBron is, man, like, he's still near a triple-double. And you can play him 1 through 4. Like, that's just, I don't know, man.
I know it has some value.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. But this year, though.
This year,
I mean.
I think I'd still take LeBron, man.
You still take LeBron?
I would still take him. I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't even know. But whatever. We spend a lot of time on second team. I respect it, though. I know what you're saying. I don't see a lot of people putting LeBron second. Like, when you look around at those, like, predicting lists, a lot of people will have LeBron, like, third team.
That's what I have him.
Which is fair. Which is totally fair. So why don't you go ahead and give me your third team?
All right. So we already mentioned LeBron.
Yeah.
You had mentioned Steph earlier, so I'm putting Steph in there.
Mm-hmm.
Efficiency is down with Steph,
Mm-hmm.
but man, he's still unreal to watch.
Yeah.
It's the gravity he has.
Yeah. It's still exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like his team just failed him. They didn't put the pieces around him.
Yeah.
I know that CP missed a lot of games this year.
Yeah.
But I remember telling you at the beginning of the year when we did the over-under, like, CP is not going to do much.
I think we both took the under on them.
Yeah. And, Draymond Green likes to get suspended every now and then. So, or get kicked out of games.
Yeah.
And then Clay is just falling off a cliff.
And then Wiggins, like, he's either
playing or takes a long leave of absence. It's, but he still managed to keep this team about 10 games over 500.
Yeah.
And just recently, he just went on a tear. They went, 7 in a row or something like that?
Something like that. They had a nice little swing.
So, I'm rewarding him with the third team.
So you have Steph, LeBron.
I'm going to go Devin Booker.
Okay.
Even though he almost missed the cutoff.
Okay.
Because I wasn't sure. I really wanted to put Donovan in there, but Donovan just missed too many games at the end.
Yeah. Does he make the cut?
Donovan's
right?
at 55. So
he's way off.
He's way off, yeah.
Okay.
And let me see who else I got. Sabonis.
Okay.
Sabonis, having just an amazing offensive season.
Yeah.
And can defend the lick. So that's like the can defend list.
Yeah, go watch him against Anthony Davis. Let's see how he does well. He kills the Lakers. He's like, I looked it up earlier. He's averaging like 18 and 17 and 8 against the Lakers this year. He dominated the AD matchup.
Which is not far off from his actual season numbers. 19, 14, and 8 or something.
Dude,
it's
the
new
unheard
Mr.
of.
Triple-double.
Yes.
And the last one, man, I had a little bit hard. It was a little hard for me to make this decision.
Okay. So you have Sabonis, LeBron,
Steph, and Devin Booker.
Devin Booker. Okay.
And my last one, I picked Halliburton.
Okay.
Because he's the assist king this year. Even though after the All-Star break, he's struggled quite a bit. But man, he was killing it at the beginning of the year. And honestly, I couldn't figure out which
goes against your criteria that you started the pod with.
Which is?
That you said totality of a season. That you give, this is your, like,
I mean, he's still playing well.
Mm.
Didn't he just
look at the post. Yeah, like, okay, like you're talking about like the last stretch, not his whole second half. Because you look at the whole second half, it's not good at all. Like, I had Hallie marked down as like a in the bubble type thing. Like, I wasn't sure yet, but dude, like,
you're right.
You're looking at those post All-Star, it's like 17 a game. Like, I'm not let me look at him real quick. You're gonna think They're not good. Like
it's March where he really had a rough month.
Obviously, he got injured. So that plays a factor, right? Like he came back and then it was like.
But I think he tried to come back early just because he wanted to make sure he would still qualify for the 65
Like look at these post All-Star numbers. 17 and a half points per game, 44% from the field, 30% from three. Still good from the free throw line. But like, yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, the assist count is there. You know, the Pacers play with insane pace. Like he's just kicking it out. Dudes are hitting threes, transition dunks. But, you know, Halliburton broke my rule for selecting an All-NBA team, which is like you're an All-NBA player from beginning to end, right? Like there's going to be some hiccups on the road. I agree with you, you know? But when I see those second half numbers, like that's not who Hallie was. Like at the beginning of the first half, he was
averaging 28.
Yes, dude. 11. And he was like 50 from the field. He was 40. Who knows how much he was from three. It was insane what he was doing pre-All-Star. Like 21, 49% from the field, 40 from three, 85 from the free throw line. Like he was at 11.7 assists. Like this dude was on a tear, you know? For a long time, people were considering him an MVP. You know, obviously it was always Jokic, Shea, like Luka.
Yeah, of course.
But Hallie his name was sneaking in there, you know, in some people's mouths.
Who would you put in front of him, or who?
Yeah, we kind of went on a tangent because I was wondering if that's why I said in the beginning of the pod I was like if you're saying that you're gonna value like beginning to end, right? Like not just one half, not just the other. I was surprised you put Hallie.
But he hasn't been terrible in April.
I just think also the Pacers have slipped. Right? Like, and they had a perfect opportunity to stay solid because, yeah, like Hallie got hurt, whatever. They made the trade for Siakam. And then Embiid gets hurt. Like, that gives you a free, you know, spot up. Like, a lot of these teams in the East, they're lucky that Embiid went down hurt, because that was an extra slot up there, you know? Like, the Pacers would probably drop a little more. Maybe the Magic would drop a little more if the Sixers had Embiid longer. So that matters. I swapped. I mean, did you give me your five?
Yeah. So essentially, it's Devin Booker, LeBron, Steph, Sabonis, and Halliburton.
Okay. So I have Steph. Don't need to get into that. We talked enough about that. I have Anthony Davis. Did you have AD second team?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Team. So I had AD. Reason I put AD there, you know, I feel like I should reward two Lakers, especially like they get their stuff together. They start looking much better. And AD gives us a 70-plus game season where he's definitely really good, right? We're not having the same conversations we were last year with AD. Oh, well, he never plays. Oh, well, he's always hurt. Like, he's been available and he's been really good.
Very durable.
Yeah, I would say top 15 worthy. Then I gave it to Jaylen Brown. You know, I put him in there because I said, you know what? Like, I'm debating at the end, like you, Booker. Halliburton was in there as well, like somewhere in there for me. But, you know, I really have to think about who dominates, like, on a really good team as well. I would say Jaylen Brown is just as important as Tatum on these Celtics. Like, when Tatum is not showing up, Brown just, like, shoulders a little bit of that. Like, obviously they have KP now. They have Drew. They have a lot more sustainability when either of those two guys doesn't show. But Jaylen Brown, like, let's look at him real quick. 23 points, right? 50% from the field, right? League average from three. Never been like a great lights out shooter. Also, I've always been just surprised at how bad he is as a free throw shooter. 70%. You know, but he's going to play defense. He is, like I said, just so important as the second best player on the Celtics. And he dominates first quarters. Like what the Celtics usually do is Jaylen Brown is that first quarter guy, right? Like Tatum kind of eases his way, right? And then it's just like the trade-off between those two. But I had to give it to Jaylen Brown because I feel like we have a 60-plus win team. They've been so good. Not that obviously Tatum's the better player, but I feel like this team needs both of them. I would say maybe the same. Like obviously, you know, Tatum's going to give you the 3-point shooting. You know, he's a better free throw shooter. So, you know, it's easy to kind of overlook Brown, but I feel like we should reward two Celtics on a 60-plus win team. And it's not just me rewarding two Celtics. Like, I'm rewarding a really good player.
No, I can't knock it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. In a vacuum, who would you rather have? Halliburton?
Or Jaylen Brown?
Or Jaylen Brown.
That's a really good one. Because that one, changes everything because he is a two-way player. That's Halliburton does not help them on defense. No, it's so bad. It's so bad.
He's not great.
Obviously, Halliburton is going to turn your offense around. Right now, I would take Jaylen Brown.
If you take Jaylen Brown off the Celtics, what do you think happens to that team? Do they miss?
Well,
obviously, they're going to suffer a little bit.
But that's the debate for Tatum in these All-NBA conversations. If we take Tatum off.
You're right.
If we do the Brunson, Jason Tatum thing, if we want to go back there, like, okay, you're a coach for one season to save your career. You're going to lose your job if you don't win a championship. Are you going Celtics without Tatum? Are you going Knicks without Brunson?
Yeah, Celtics.
You're going Celtics. Yeah, are you going Minnesota without Edwards? Or are you going Celtics without Tatum? Who are you coaching to try to win the title?
Yeah, of course, you're right. Because
I'm just saying, like,
I guess you're right. Because
we could do that all day with this team. This team is stacked.
Yeah, you're right.
We could do it all day. This team is crazy.
In terms of the eye test, though, I just feel like Halliburton it feels like he is so important to that Indiana team.
He is.
That without Halliburton, that team just falls off a cliff.
It could, but then I'm thinking Jaylen Brown would give them more two-way ability, right? I don't know how it works because, distribution-wise, but they play so fast. And Brown can play fast. He's an athlete as well. So, and it's not, and if you really watch the Pacers, like Halliburton's not really throwing like these, oh my God, like crazy passes. Like he does have those in his bag, but when you're really watching those assists, it's a lot of like just
easy reads,
open threes, open like transition dunks. So it's like, is he really like reinventing the wheel assist wise, or is he just around a bunch of shooters? And
you think those numbers are inflated also?
I think they're inflated because of pace, because of obviously the spacing. The shooting around him, like I feel like a lot of people would thrive assist count wise on a team like that, and maybe I'm just not being fair, but I don't know. It's a good question, Browner. But then I go back to the same one: who had a full good season, Hallie or Brown?
Well, let's see.
I'm going Brown.
What are Jaylen's numbers before the All-Star break?
Pre-All-Star,
the first half of the season? Because I would argue
I feel like he was going crazy.
He's averaging 25.
Pre-All-Star, 22, 49 from the field, 34 from three, just basically right where he's at. 1 steal, 3.7 assists. He's a +5. I mean, plus minus is a tricky one because the Celtics are always a plus. But yeah, he's basically the same.
You make a very valid argument. I think I'm going to change my mind.
And then the two-way part, like that matters, We can make fun of the left hand all we want, But it's like two-way ability, athlete, like he is so important to those Celtics. Like I said, when Tatum just doesn't have it, Jaylen Brown has had some crazy games, dude. I don't know. I had to reward Brown, full good season, second best player on the best team. And he's not just like some second best player that's like averaging 18. He's in the 20 pluses and he's doing his thing, I don't know. I feel like Brown deserves all NBA this year.
Do you think he'll make it though? You think he'll get it?
I think he will because of Celtics' success. Like some people just reward that. Like they're like, we need two guys from that team.
Some people you're gonna say the Boston media.
Well, that too. But I feel like people reward that. Like you see how they give like LeBron and AD, like they're like, okay, the Lakers have kind of picked it up, and then if you put AD, well, you better put LeBron. Like I feel
you look at the raw numbers, yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's like, what are you gonna do? Just to reiterate, I have Steph, AD, Jaylen Brown. I have Sabonis. I agreed with you with Sabonis. Okay. And then I put Booker. He made my last slot,
Numbers are really good still.
The numbers are great. And he's almost at 7 assists. I'm not looking at his numbers right now, but I think he was like 6.7. Right.
It's like 27 and 7, I think.
Fucking insane. The 3%, the 3-point percentage, that's always kind of shaky. Like it's like middle of the pack, I think. I think he's like at 36 or something percent.
Yeah, pretty much league average.
Yeah.
A little above.
But, field goal percentage, dude eats in the mid-range.
49%.
Like, come on. And, dude, like, what they're asking him to do is a little unfair. Like, they're making him the point. They're making him do all this stuff that he doesn't even do. And he's,
Well, you know what? There was maybe 5, 6 years ago that, during one of the bad Phoenix Suns
Yeah.
years. They just made Devin the point guard.
Yeah.
And I feel like that developed his playmaking a lot.
Yeah.
Because his scoring didn't go down, but his assist numbers just shot
Isn't
up.
that crazy?
And then now you see him doing it and being able to do it well.
Yeah.
Because he's not turning the ball over like crazy.
Yeah.
So I feel like, you know, when you're able to keep that efficiency, you're still able to play make without turning the ball over. You're doing a good job.
What about who else did you consider at the end? Did you ever look at Zion?
Funny you say that. Yes,
Yeah.
I was gonna look at him. His numbers just don't jump out of the page. You know, 23, 5-5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Team success was there because I wanted to reward the Pelicans because
I did too.
Everybody's saying that, you know, they're the dark horse. That's the team you don't want to face.
And Zion 60 plus games, obviously.
Yes, that's
really
amazing.
good. Yeah,
that's amazing.
Isn't that crazy how low the bar has been?
I know.
65, amazing. Like back in the day, our guys were playing like
for Zion
70 something. Yeah,
I know.
But it's like we see 65 and we're like, man, dude's durable.
But you know what? That's something like, that you know, I would like to address. In today's NBA, the action is I feel like it's a lot faster. Mm-hmm. The defense, you're required to play a different kind of defense because people are saying that there's no defense now. It's not that. It's that you have to play a defense where you can't touch the players, which I think it's a little bit more grueling. You got to move your feet more. Whereas back in the day, you would just be able to hold your guy at the perimeter by hand checking him or whatever.
And there's more space now. So you're basically like one-on-one everywhere on the floor.
Exactly.
It's kind of crazy.
More space to cover.
Yeah.
So I feel like today's NBA athlete is just required to do a lot more.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. You know, I'm with you on that boat. People knock the defense all the time. And I'm telling people constantly, yes, it looks bad, but you also have to consider everyone's on an island. So how the hell do you guard a guy on an island?
Exactly.
Like, that's very difficult, you know, especially when you're playing those spacey teams. Like, how do you guard OKC? All 5 guys are shooting threes. All 5 can put the ball down. So you're not like hard closing out on a 40% three-point shooter. You should hard close out, right? All 5 of those guys will put the ball down. So if you close out too hard, they're just going to blow by you. If you close out slow, they're going to knock it down. So it's like,
and
how do you guard that?
A lot of coaches are just trying to, like, you know, protect the paint.
Yeah.
And then that's why you end up getting these wild swings of somebody hitting 23s and end up winning by 30.
Yeah.
You're seeing that so frequently because the talent level is insane right now.
Yeah.
I love it. It's any team, even the bad teams have like at least 2 or 3 good players that you can just sit there and watch and be like, man, that guy is. You know,
and you can get a little nerdy with it and be like, you can kind of nerd out on like a team's 6th guy that's like not playing and be like, man, he's got potential.
Like you know? Put him in this team. And
yeah. It's crazy.
100%.
It's crazy. Okay, so we ran through this. I like your All-NBA team. It's crazy that we are almost right in line with our picks. I was considering Zion as well because, like you, I wanted to reward a Pelicans player, and I wanted to reward Zion playing a lot of games. But at the end of the day, can't put him over Booker, can't put him over Sabonis. Jaylen Brown deserves it. Second best player on the Celtics. I have AD, Steph. I want to ask you before we end this episode real quick. We weren't planning on doing this, but MVP. Who do you think should win it, and who do you think is going to win it?
Who I think is going to win it is going to be Jokic.
Okay.
Just because the advanced stats just all point out that this guy is that team.
Yeah.
They're potentially the number 1 seed in the West, which is by far the harder conference. I don't know, man. When I look at Luka Doncic play.
Look at how far we've come.
Oh, man.
With the Luka thing.
Dude.
Look how far we've come because we were not saying like, we were like, you know.
Yeah, with Luka.
Like, he's amazing.
Top 10 player for sure. No,
yeah.
I
always
top 2.
I always said top 5 though. Like I always had him in the, you know, because he was all NBA. Like he's all NBA like first team.
Yeah, you're right.
So I always had him top 5, but the MVP shit, like I didn't even. I thought it was Jokic Shea.
But you know what? I didn't think that until like maybe recently.
Right. Post All-Star after that trade.
Yeah.
The defense is like top 10, and then
whoever's engineering that Mavs team deserves an award because the way that they've surrounded the right talent.
Yeah.
I think they dropped the ball with Jalen Brunson, letting him go. But who would have thought Jalen Brunson was going to be this good? But then you replace essentially Brunson with Kyrie.
Yeah.
And then you put rim running bigs and shooters around Luka.
Yeah.
And it's like a kid in a toy store.
Yeah.
Like he just could do all things he wants. And then that opens up his offense. And he's averaging now like 34.
Yeah.
It's insane.
This is as good as I've seen him. So, so you would give it to Luka if you had the award to give.
If it was me, I would give it to Luka. Okay. Just because, voters fatigue.
Yeah. Yeah, that plays a factor. Even though Jokic didn't win last year.
He didn't, but he won the 2 years before, and then he was right there about to take it from Embiid.
And you know what's going to hurt Jokic as well is, and it might not even be like his fault, but they've dropped a little bit, right, in the standings, even though they're like tied for first. They're like they're like a game away from that. But, that's also going to help Luka, right? Because they're going to be like, oh, well, Jokic won it. Nuggets right now are sitting in third.
Yep.
And the Mavs are fifth. So now we don't even have to talk about a massive difference in, oh, well, this is the 1 seed. Like, that's going to hold some weight. The Nuggets dropping a little.
If somehow Dallas can get that 4th seed.
I don't think they will.
But they're still a 50-win team.
Okay, so you would give it to Luka. And, my cousin he lives in Dallas. Huge Luka fan. He's been in my DMs all year, just telling me, Luka's the MVP, Luka's the MVP. But he was like, oh, he wasn't on your ladder kind of vote thing when I did a little poll. And I told him, like, that's normal. Like, it's the ladder moves up and down. Like, with your team success, with matchups, like when teams play each other and these MVPs go at it, like, you go up and down. You know what I'm saying? It's not set in stone. Like, look at Shea. At one point, he was a lock for MVP.
Yeah.
And now we're kind of forgetting him in this Luka Jokic conversation. That's a great example. Yeah. That's a great example of that, because I promise you, I was on the boat of, damn, like if OKC locks this 1 seed, this dude's leading the league in steals. He's one of the best and efficient scorers in the mid-range.
Averaging 30 a game.
He's the best player on potentially number 1 seed in the West after being in the play-in. It's like, that's serious conversation.
To me, I wouldn't be mad if any of those 3 got it.
At this point,
I feel like Brunson deserves some love based on what he's been doing lately.
He ain't going to win it over these guys.
He ain't going to win it. He's not going to win it.
Yeah,
His numbers don't jump out of the page like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It's good numbers, but it's not like, 30.
It's not like these.
34-9-9.
These are insane.
36-5. And
yeah. Honestly, if the Nuggets are right where they are standings-wise.
Essentially top 3.
Yeah. Like, if they're third, I'm gonna want Luka to win that MVP. I think at that point, like, we can't say, oh, well, best team on the best, or best player on the best team, right, in the Western Conference, which we agree, like, that's the hardest conference. So, yeah, I would say I still think Jokic is probably going to win it. He's coming fresh off of that finals MVP. He's just as excellent. And the team actually technically around him, like bench-wise, the numbers are down compared to what the bench was last year. It's like, it's not good, And even though these guys have picked it up as the season has gone now, but I do think that it's between those two. Like, it's between those two. I think it's going to go to Jokic, but I am kind of swinging. And, like, just watching Luka, what he's been doing second half of the season with the wins after these trades, I would want to give it to Luka probably, So
we agree on that.
Yeah. So we're, like, right on that boat. We're basically the same in that sense. That's it for this one. Bulls, good, bad team.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.